So I have been given two of these very pink, very sparkly hats, and I am going to turn them into something completely different. So let's do that. So I am looking at my bags of scrap wool that is not useful for anything, and I found this. This is horrible wool. It's horrible because it is, I mean, look at it. It's scratchy, you can tell, and it is too fluffy for anything wearable. So, this is perfect for making sea creatures because they're not going to be worn. They are just going to be art. So I've been looking through all of my scrap bits of odd yarn that I can use to make various different sea life, so we're gonna see what we can do with that. Okay, so I have been using scrap yarn, anything I can find, and also not just scrap yarn, but also scraps of knitted material that, like, because a lot of the scrap yarn was gifts from my nana, and she gives me the stuff she doesn't want, and often she makes little swatches and experiments that she then doesn't want anymore, and then she gives them to me along with the wool that she doesn't want. So yeah, this was knitted, and then she just gave it to me, and she decided she didn't want to continue with that. It's probably just an experiment. So I just continued it with crochet, because you can switch from knitting to crochet quite easily. And I it was a straight piece, you can tell it was a straight piece. All I did was I turned it inside out and stitched it together on the inside, and then turn it the right way through again, and now it looks like coral. I didn't have the exact same blue, but I decided that it would be close enough to use this multicolored blue that I've also been given by my nana, to make something that looks like blue coral. There is blue coral, it exists. I researched that before I started, and I've also got some other colours of coral. So I have white, which represents the bleached coral. I have sort of, well, this is quite an accurate coral colour, I think. It's quite a gradient, which I have more of here. It gets a bit darker as it goes on. And I have made little sea anemones, which are from this fluffy material that is not very nice to work with if you're going to work with it for anything other than artwork. And I also I've been attaching them together so they look like this. And then I am going to use them on this hat. So you can see here I've got some, it's not attached yet, I'm just placing it so that I can decide how I want it to look. Yeah. And I'm just going to try and even it out so that it's not one side heavy. And yeah. I've been making something that represents a sea urchin. Kind of looks like a flower. Yeah, they're little spiky guys. Because I'm not making spikes, I'm making little wiggles. And they're sort of multicolored and pink. They represent the spikes. And the blue represents the shell. So the trouble with using recycled wool, as in wool that has been given to me, I often find problems with the wool, such as this one, where the wool is, let's just see, this is not normal. He's just pulling it and, oh! So it's like that all the way through. It just is little bits.
Why don't you come down little bits? Where the food is tiny.
So I'm solving that by tying all the little bits together, and it's taking me a long time to do that. So you can see these are the efforts that I need to make in order to use recycled yarn. To attach the back together, I am using what's called a fisherman's knot, and basically means you just tie a knot around with each end, and you can see it more clearly here because I've used 2 different colours. Pulling them tight secures them, and I'm doing it with different colours at the minute because why not? It'll make the work more interesting, and it's kind of like I have variegated wool. So I'm continuing attaching this, then some of this offcut, which is just a little bit of leftover wool that would otherwise have been used as stuffing. It feels as though all parts of the mattress are getting used in the recycling, because this is all this sort of thread from the mattress. So this was holding the top of the mattress together. So I'm now crocheting with that to make little coral pieces. This one is wool, but it will look basically the same. This wool was also recycled, so I'm using all kinds of recycled things. I'm crocheting many different colours, and I am attaching those all to the hat here, and they will make a very colourful looking hat. I'm thinking of making, potentially if this hat is all colourful, that represents the alive corals, and if I do a wall hanging piece, potentially, it can represent the bleached and dead corals. I have been making lots of white, and I'm making more white now. So yeah. So I've been working on the hat. This is how it's looking right now, and my plan now is to work in the corals. So I would just pick where it's going to go, and then I would work it in so that I don't have to create a flat bit of material like I've done in the other bits of the hat. It would mean that I would save on wool, and that is a good thing for me because I would save on time because I wouldn't have to also make a flat bit of the hat here. So yes, I'm just going to build up my corals, attaching them together and attaching them to the hat, this bit of the material of the hat, and once that is done I'm going to be adding more to all over the hat basically, so that it's a art piece that you can wear. I've been making this shell, and it's coming together nicely. I mean, I hope it looks like a shell. Yeah. I've made so many corals and sea anemones and different types of things, yeah, to go on the hat, and this is how it's looking at the moment. I'm trying to get all the way out to the edge so that I can sew these on. And I might just leave the underside of it pink because I don't like to alter things that much that they're I'm using no longer recycled elements. So I think I'll just keep it I'll either keep it pink or maybe cover it with some recycled fabric, maybe. But it's quite a statement piece to wear, so I feel like I should just leave it pink because it makes it stand out more. So the underside be pink and the top just be coral and sea life. I've added some shells to the sides here as well. I've been attaching many things to the hat. I'm just crocheting on some more sea life and corals and things like that. I've added the clownfish here and a turtle here, coral, sea anemone on the top there. Lots of corals on the brim. Just continuing to add that. I made one more little clownfish to add to the hat. And that's all of what I'm going to add on because it's getting heavier, getting too heavy. So now to sew on the hat, sew on the fabric that I've made to the hat, the crochet and all of these little guys are attached to the crochet. So yeah, everything's getting sewn on now. And all ends will be tucked in and cut off. The hat is complete and this is how it looks. I also made a stand for it out of these corks, which are fishing floats, bits of old fabric like this, and some seaweed, crocheted seaweed that I've made. So I have 2 clownfish. I have a turtle, and I have shells that I've drilled and sewn on, and I have lots of crocheted coral that I've made up and sewn on, and we have a seahorse here. Lots of sea anemones. And these represent sea urchins, so there's 2 of those. Had to model it, of course. Now it's done. I think it looks pretty cool. I think definitely a statement piece. If you're gonna wear that, you've got to be very confident, and yeah, I love it. I think this one's very pretty.